Howdy, g'day, and welcome to my garden. Today, I have a pick a card reading for you and only you. The universe wants to share a message with you in one of these piles. It's about how to get yourself out of a sticky situation. We've all been in a pickle. It happens to the best of us. It could be a small pickle, a large pickle, a dill pickle, a burger pickle. But what we have here is 4 different piles. You might be attracted to one or all of them or 2 or 3. But take a moment to breathe into your heart space, and whichever card is attracting you the most, that's the card you're going to pick. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's get straight into it. G'day pile number 1 and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how to get you out of a sticky pickle. And the card you've chosen here, it's from the Hero's Journey deck, which says discover your superpower, access 100% of your mojo, with the number 33 on the top, which could be relevant to you. Now we've got a couple of other leading energies. That is the divine fruit. As I work to improve and free myself, I strengthen my foundations. My intellect is light, my heart is warmth, and my soul is strength. I am nurtured by the divine sun. The fruit I bear reflects my inner light. Then we have inner journey and we have labor. And look at the way that fell out. Oh, also something that I think is definitely a message for us all today is this fingernail. Okay, I have tried to paint this nail like 7 times before this video started. So it's a long story. I've been making a commitment to myself since the 8/8 portal that I would get myself a manicure every 2 weeks because it makes me feel abundant. And so of course, the first time I went to get a manicure, you might have seen in my painting video, I had these gorgeous turquoise, the color was called Jelly Bean. I had them on these alternating digits, and I went and cleaned the house and sat in the sun, and the colour faded completely. And so then I've gone to paint over the top of these just before the reading because I wanted my nails to look nice. And this one, I just cannot stop swiping it by accident, and it happened just as I started filming, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll leave it there. You might be able to even see it. But let's see, there might be a message in there for you about that. So pile 1, the first thing that's coming up here is a question, and that is, what would you do? It's kind of like, what would Jesus do? But it's asking you to look back at what kind of a choice or a decision would reflect who you are. Because it seems that you've forgotten somewhere along the way what you would do given a situation like this. So you're caught in a pickle. Let's find out more about this pickle. Okay, I can feel your pickle, guys. This is a situation where you're stuck between 2 different parties of individuals or 2 different people, and you know that choosing one side is going to upset the other side, or it's more like choosing one side is going to upset one facet of yourself because both parties are reflecting an aspect of you. The example that's coming to mind for me is like when you're dating a new person really early days and they have like a best friend and you hang out with them and the best friend and they get stuck in this place where it's like they know you don't like Thai food, but their best friend really wants to go out for Thai, but they've never stood up to their best friend before and told them no. And so they decide they'd rather choose to appease their best friend because they would lose more. And so you go for Thai. I mean, that's at the end of the decision, but it's that feeling in there. So it's like you're stuck between the decision between 2 different people. And you need to ask, who are you? What do you want? You know what you want, actually. That's how you get out of this pickle, is you choose yourself. Because you're making yourself feel confused on purpose so that you feel like you're a good person and you're not hurting anybody. So the more you can say, I don't know, the more you can avoid your responsibility of making a choice. So when you hear that, that could be potentially a bit triggering because it's a bit savage, but do you think it could be true? Do you already know which one you want to choose, but you're just deciding who you don't want to upset? Maybe it's a choice between the heart and the grid of the society, like money or a job. Like maybe one of these choices is more emotionally fulfilling for you, but the other one is like, oh, but my boss is going to be upset, or something like that. But the first step here to come into alignment is to recognize with yourself that you do know. You know what you want, but you, for a reason of protecting yourself, feeling safe, or avoiding, you've obfuscated the true decision here. So it might actually feel like deep inside you're like, oh no, I don't know which one to choose. But all you have to do is sit with yourself, go deep inside of yourself and choose you. Choose you. Perhaps there's a reset that needs to happen. You need to come back into yourself. Do you need to go and cleanse yourself in a pond or the ocean, or go back to some location that makes you feel most like yourself, something in nature, something where you can connect to your nature or to life? Well, sorry, I've had your cards all awkwardly laid out. Let's go like that. I'm sensing that all this requires is a single moment of inner work. Could be a whole day, just one day where you remove yourself entirely and sweep your mind of the emotional investment that you have in these two choices, so that you come into your center and you can know exactly which one appeals to you more. And you will not find this by seeking advice from anybody else. You'll find it by going within and asking yourself what you truly want. It's likely that the choice that you truly want is the one that is a little bit more difficult. That's usually how these things go. Perhaps you feel like there's like a circus or a lot of people, a crowd watching over you, and they're wondering what are you going to do given this choice. But you need to remember that this choice doesn't have to reflect you on the outside. It really is all about a feeling on the inside. And this is also an opportunity for yourself to recognize how you created such a situation. There seems to be a lesson in responsibility embedded inside of this pickle. What happens to you on the earthly realm when you decide to close your eyes to the truth? Is there some moment along the pathway where this choice came up earlier and it would have been easier to make the choice at that time, but you let it go on and now you are more pickled than ever? This is giving you the opportunity to say, hey, I'm never going to do that again. And for some reason, this is coming all very strong. It feels like the universe wants to give you a talking to, just so that you really remember this and you don't repeat this lesson. But you are being reminded that the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow the sun will come out. It's just a moment in time. Can you see that? This is what happens when you access the world of your own. Like if you had to make this decision and say you could freeze time, you could click your fingers, freeze everything, you get to keep moving, you get to make that decision and nobody knows it's happened. Only you. What decision would you make? If you could make it while everybody else's eyes were closed, which decision would you make? I think you guys know exactly which one you want to make. And again, if you are really, really stuck, go into nature, spend a day, wipe your mind of anybody else's opinions, stop asking for other people's advice, even tarot readings. Let this be the last one. And now go into the forest to the beach, into the mountains, into the valley, into the sand, and get inside of your own energy. And remember, everything that you do in this life, it's all for you. There's no such thing as conditional. There's only unconditional. And if you want to know what that means, go and check out Roxy's channel on Odyssey of Ascension. It's very, very high level self-mastery stuff that can be like hard to digest, but I love her channel, and I think this could be a situation where you need a bit of that stern energy, which is Roxy all over. So I'll pull one more card for you guys. You hold the key to an awakened life. Set yourself free. Yes, this moment for you, this decision, I don't want to say like make or break, but it feels like the opportunity of a lifetime. It feels like if you take this choice and all the learnings that it's offering, you could propel yourself in a completely different kind of life. You will learn something eternal that will never have to be repeated if you take your responsibility full thrust in this moment as you make this choice. You know what to do. Anyways, thanks for stopping by my garden. If you like this, I have private readings on my website. You can check that out, or you can join my meditation club, where today I will be revealing a extra pile for this particular reading. I have psychic Q&A, I have weekly meditations, I have collective card readings, and they're all on my garden through my website. Check it out in the description below. Love you guys. Bye. Hi, pile number 2, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how to get yourself out of a pickle. That's right. Are you caught between a rock and a hard place? Are you in a sticky situation? Let me help you out and find your clarity. So today, your card says Divine Discernment, Step Back to Find Clarity, number 13. And then we have 3 cards here to add to the energy. There is Sacred Space, Creativity, I love that card, and Inner Beauty. I open the eyes of my heart and direct my gaze to the light within every being. Personality and physical appearance are in the image of man. Beauty and goodness are in the image of God. So the first phrases that come up are Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know if that movie means anything to you or if it's simply the name Mrs. Doubtfire. Then the phrase your head's in the clouds, and then the phrase you're in a kerfuffle, and then the phrase create your way out of this. So different to making a decision here, I'm feeling a sense of shame coming up. Almost like a wave of doom. Oh no. Pile 2, what on earth is going on? You got to let me know what's happening in the comments with you guys. Oh, I can feel it. Something pickly here. So you've taken a hit to your ego, a hit to your identity, some kind of kerfuffle or a mess or a misunderstanding has caused you to explode into an image that you're not comfortable with. Perhaps this was a necessary explosion. Perhaps this was a necessary tsunami. And of course, we see that to come out of this whole scenario is wisdom, which we may not be ready to say thank you for yet, and that's okay. But this is a moment that clearly had to happen. I wonder why. Just as I am shuffling these cards around to find a better perspective on them, there's something about this situation here, stepping back to find clarity and using your creativity, where you might have to jumble the pieces around. You might have to remove yourself somehow from the situation. See if you could look at this through the POV of somebody else, or through an animal, perhaps a compassionate pet, to extract the seeds of knowledge that don't require you to be so characteristically involved. Your eyes are open now. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because I said at the start by accident, I open my eyes. So there's something here about discovering the truth. It reminds me of back when I was in high school. I had a very big blowout with a whole group of girls that had been some of my best friends for years and years, and then all of a sudden, they turned on me, these girls, and I learnt a lot of things basically in that situation. But I learned something about naivety. I don't like when people say naivete. I don't know why they do that. Is it naivety? Oh, I'm going to call it that. There's something about, I wonder if there's a message in me saying that thing about naivete. Yeah, maybe there's a lesson in here about like the way that you wanted to appear to other people. Like a very extreme example of this is like, say you went to get plastic surgery, like you went to get your lips done because you wanted to fit in with your girlfriends, and then the lip surgeon goofed it and your lips exploded in a really painful and embarrassing way, and then you had to come out with these lips and showed everyone that your lip procedure didn't work out how you wanted it to. You know, it's carrying that kind of feeling about tarnishing the image, wanting to look a certain way to people, like, you know, naivete. I feel like people pronounce it like that when they're trying to look intelligent to others, you know? Or, you know, it's like when people say "an history" because it's like grammatically correct, but it's like, brother, who says "an history" who's not a wanker? Sorry if you say "an history." But yeah, is there something, were you being a wanker in some way? I'm just kidding, but there's something about, like, I see clear, look at him, look at that little smize on his face, you know? He's kind of smirking. Is there a humor in this situation? There's something about your eyes being open now that will help you pull or suck or leech yourself out of the feeling of being pickled here. It's like Spirit wants to say the only stickiness in this situation is in your head. The only stickiness in this situation is in your ego. It's in how you want to appear. And the facts of the matter are that didn't happen. You didn't appear that way, and something else happened, and that's who and what you are now. And that's totally fine because it's yours. So it's time to own it, whatever that is. I am still very, very curious, part 2, about what's going on with you. Please drop a comment below. It feels kind of light, like there is a lightheartedness here, and maybe that's part of the creativity, like finding the sense of humor in this situation, in your failure. Can you own it? Can you twist your perspective here? This could be a good exercise for you, actually. Like, try journaling an alternative reality where you completely let go of your ego and you didn't worry about how this situation tarnished your image. Right from that perspective and see what you can pull from it. It's a lot harder said than done, but there's something about a great sense of wisdom, and also something that you can capitalize on later because you can teach people about this experience that you're having. I'm sure for some of you this is not lighthearted and this actually sucks, and so I'm really sorry about that. And the challenge here is to push yourself towards a lightheartedness in some way. But the overthinking has to stop. That's no good. You have to take a moment to sit with yourself and thoroughly accept that this situation is a part of your story now. You can't go back in time, and there is no point mulling over what could have been said or done differently to make a better situation, because now you have a set of cards that have been dealt to you, and these cards were there the whole time. Even though it might seem like the conundrum you're in is a disaster that wasn't supposed to happen, Spirit wants you to see how all of these factors were laid out before you ahead of time, and how now you know for the future to see with clear eyes. What's the Bible passage for those with eyes to see? Look up. I'll try and remember to look that up, and I'll post it in the comments. And there's some, I know this is crazy, guys, and this might not be for everyone, but there's some fruition. There's like a feeling of joy of watching whatever this was burn to the ground. It's like if you bunged your plastic surgery up and now you finally had to let go of the whole idea of keeping up your image with all of this extra work, and your soul gets to take a breath, man. Your soul gets to relieve itself and say, oh, who I was underneath that was actually somebody that didn't even like that anyway. Wow, part 2, I love this reading. I would love to hear, please tell me in the comments what's going on, what is going on. Let this be your anonymous diary place. Tell us all, what's the embarrassing goof up that you've had? What happened here that tarnished your vanity? Remember that problem shared is a problem halved. You'll get to the other side of this and you'll be able to smile at it. That's my feeling. I'm also hearing young mistakes. So this is the kind of mistake, even if you're just young at heart, this is the kind of mistake that's like a young mistake. There's a clumsiness and a joyfulness to it that says it's going to be okay. This isn't a deadly mistake. This isn't doom. It might look like it. It might look like the death crow, but it's actually just wisdom in disguise. So that's it for you, par number 2. I have a extended reading happening on my Patreon club in the link below, which you can check out. Or if you want to get a private reading with me, they're all in my website. Check out the link. Otherwise, thank you so much for stopping by. My God, and it has been so much fun reading for you guys. I feel like you are funny people. So please drop a comment, say hello, and I hope to see you around in my garden. Adios. Good day, pile number 3. Hello and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how to get yourself out of a sticky situation. Get yourself out of a pickle, and your leading energy card today is Divine Drunkenness. Surrender to your spiritual reverie with the number 45, which could be relevant to you. Now we have a few other cards here. They are Creativity, Balance, Vitality, and Trust. So what is the pickle for you guys? Par number 3, I'm going to pull some cards. In the meantime, I will say the phrase leap and the net will appear comes up for me, and there's a sense of wishing you could escape to some sense of safety, but the fact is you are well and truly on your way, and the whirlwind of energy or momentum has taken its course and you cannot stop it now, and it's time to fall balls deep into trust. Pile 3, here is your big and glorious spread. I know what this is all about. I think you can see it. It's really clear here when it's on the cards, and that's kind of interesting too. It's like you can see it. You can see everything about this situation if you take the richer or higher perspective of an outsider. And so the first thing that stands out to me is the toxicity card, which I always tend to ignore the word toxic and the stuff around it, and my attention is drawn to what is about to become a Merkaba. So you can look up the Merkaba energy, but for me, this is about the lower triangle representing the 3D grid of illusions in this earthly realm of responsibility, money, societal norms, or the vital lie that Ernest Becker describes in his book, The Denial of Death. That's right. Ernest Becker, The Denial of Death. That could be an interesting book for you to read. Feels very much like these, a lot of you might be artists in this pile, and there's something about you're suddenly being launched into this new realm of trusting the universe, which is so cliched. Sorry, hang on. I'm getting all mixed-y. I'm getting mixed up. I'm going to finish what I was saying about this. So, bottom triangle represents the 3D grid. Top triangle represents the inversion of the grid, which is the quantum field, right? So when you can invert all of your belief systems, that turns you into the 3D locked in human who is stuck in the world of earthly predictability, right? And results. So like saving money and believing that you need to get your money through a paid salary job, versus the quantum, which says there are infinite ways that money can make its way to you if only you trust. This might be a time to look at Neuro Knowledge on YouTube, who's one of my favorite readers. Well, sorry, not reader. He's like a teacher who I love. I just cannot stop listening to his stuff. But there's this idea of now it's time for you to go blindfolded into the unknown. Okay, now back we go to me saying this is very, very... I was going to say niche, and then my brain got bombarded with the word quiche, and then the word that I really meant to say is cliched. Guys, there is just some mental energy going on right here. Like, I can't think straight with this group. Everything's all over the place. That's why I feel like you're artists. It's this drunk feeling. It's like everything's a mess and nothing is clear because you're taking too many factors into consideration here. You're not taking things moment by moment, because the truth is there is only one now, and you will only ever have the information that you need for now in the now. So even though we are led to believe that we have to plan for the future and that we can seek security by landing a full-time job or having our family or paying our mortgage, all of this is illusory, and you know it if you're of the spiritual composition. So there's this sense like when you see this, oh wow, so much, there's so much creativity in this group. I can feel you guys. Like, okay, a few things here. You are the water, okay? Or you're being encouraged to be anyway, to follow the flow of the now, to reduce all ideas of who you should be, where you should be, what would other people think, what's the long game, what about my savings, all of that protective energy has to go, because you have to make this big leap and you can't see it yet, but there's chalices waiting for you at the bottom. And once those chalices fill up, because they were like a safety net too, bang, those vines will be weighed down and you will fall into the river of life where there is infinite flow, infinite abundance. And also, I don't know if any of you have seen the new Disney movie Inside Out 2. This reminds me of the anxiety character. It looks like the same silhouette of that character. And so, need I say more? If you haven't seen that movie, there's a scene where... So Inside Out 2, it's about this girl and all the little characters that run her brain. And each character represents a different emotion, and the anxiety character starts to infiltrate when she hits puberty. So anxiety kicks all of the other emotions out and starts to run the show and destroys this little girl's life by turning her totally against herself because it's worried about everything that might go wrong in a reality that hasn't happened yet. So, it's fast, it's fiery, there's a lot of panic in the air. It's like, we've got to remove this energy. Let's remove this energy. Let's remove everything. Let's remove everything. And let's just keep trust. You've clearly got the vitality in your system, so I don't think we need that either, because there's a lot of energy, and you guys have probably too many ideas that you don't even know which one to go with, and that's why you need to go into the now. The now is where excitement appears, as Bashar says, and I always quote, excitement is the organizing principle, okay? Excitement is the organizing principle. That means if you follow your excitement and your true sense of enthusiasm coming from your soul's highest purpose in every moment, the universe will fall into place around you and prevent you from having any mishaps or problems, because your enthusiasm is your most raw and powerful energy, which you clearly have a lot of energy in this group. So this is also at the bottom, the transformation card. This is your opportunity to transform into a person that wholeheartedly trusts the universe. And I'm going through this myself at the moment, don't you worry. This is like me to a T, mate. It's the idea that you might be a person who's been into spirituality for a really long time, and you've gone, okay, I'll take 80% of what I hear coming at me through signs and symbols and the tarot and my own instincts, but that other 20% that makes me feel afraid, I don't really like that, so I'm going to ignore that. And Spirit's like, no sir, sticky situation. You can't pull yourself out of it until you take your balls and put them on the table and run. This is like me. I have an amount of money in my savings, and I've got this number in my mind that I'm fixated on reaching before I'm willing to spend any, which doesn't make any sense, because the second I reach that number, then I'm going to spend it and it's going to change anyway. But there's certain things I've really needed to purchase in the past few weeks where I've gone umming and ahhing, like, oh, but I don't want to break into the savings. But it's like the universe doesn't understand what is savings, what is security. It just sees you being really stingy with an amount of money that is there to be spent. So again, of course, don't take any guidance from a tarot reading about like big life decisions, especially financial ones. But you get what I'm saying. This is an energy thing. It's about trusting the universe and trusting 100% of what you have learned on your spiritual journey, instead of just the bits you want to take. So if you know all of your laws of attraction and your Abraham Hicks and your manifestation rules, but you haven't implemented them because you're scared, this is what this is all about. So that is a lot of chaotic information, part 3, but I think you get the point. If you'd like to see an extension of this reading, I have a club on Patreon that you can check out. It's only $3 a week. It's in the link below. And I also do private readings if you need further guidance, but you guys don't. You guys don't need further guidance because you know exactly what to do. You just need to trust yourself. That's the end. Thank you for stopping by my garden, part 3. Love yous. Bye. G'day, pile number 4, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how to get yourself out of a sticky situation. Are you in a pickle of some sort? Let's find out. Your leading energy is North Star, number 19. Flip your inner light switch. And in coming into this reading, I felt a strong need to hone in and focus my attention. I dropped my energy and felt a real change in the air, especially after the chaos of pile 3 brought all of my awareness down into my body and into this moment to focus solely on this North Star card. So on top of this, we have the voice of the heart. I silence the fear in me and discover the voice of my heart. The fruit of these words guides me. I trust the song of my soul. My intuition leads me on the path of light. Then we have deceit. And then we have self-love. So for starters, there wants to be said, if you have a look at this snake, the feeling that I get in this pile is that you're wondering, am I him or am I him? And Spirit's saying, you're all of it. You're the whole snake. You know, you're like, am I the sun or am I the moon? It's like, am I the devil or am I just following or just doing the right thing, you know? And it's like, you're both. You're neither. You're the heart. You're the voice of your heart. So what else about this situation can we see here? There's something about you looking too much at yourself in terms of analysing who you are and worrying about if what you're doing is right or wrong, rather than just being, you know? It's like, don't do, just be. That's the first message. Yeah, too much self-reflection that it's causing you to rot, and you're looking back at yourself too much, that it's making everything foggy. When if you just go into your heart and you ask yourself, who am I? You know, you could ask your heart to show you an image of who you are and what you are. And to see the real purpose behind your actions here. Because you're not a bad person, but you're also not a good person, and it doesn't matter. It matters that you're moving towards your goal and honoring your heart's desires. There is no such thing as a good person or a bad person when the heart is involved. I feel every pile I want to recommend that you watch Odyssey of Ascension. It's a channel on YouTube. I'll link it either in the comments or the description, because I think everyone needs a hit of this stern talking to about the unconditional. So the idea of the unconditional is that any situation, no matter how glorious or horrific, is simply the state of matter in the universe. You know, electricity doesn't care about a sweet, innocent child touching the electricity and electrocuting itself, and that is a freaky and sad fact of how universal energy operates, but it's also a truth, and you are part of that truth. You are electricity, so you have a bad side and a good side, a dark and a light. But who are you? What is your electricity? What's your current? Because the current of you is what it is and cannot be changed the only thing that can happen to this current is that you try to warp it, and that's not doing you any favors. So you know what you need to do in this situation. You just have to clear your mind of any idea that it's going to make you into a bad person or whatever you think a good person is, and you have to do what you have to do. This is like the energy of being a boss and knowing that you have to fire someone who's just not doing the job good for you, or that their pay is actually taking out of yours and it's your company in the first place, and you've gone so far in the spiral of like, oh, what if I don't want to upset them, I can't do this to somebody, that it's like, no, you need to honor yourself here. There's a choice that has to be made that honors you. And perhaps you haven't embraced your inner evil in a while. And so it's balancing the scales in some kind of grand sense. Do you see how there's like a devilish image inside of the heart? Life is a perfect balance between dark and light. You are not two-faced, you just are the whole complexity of the snake. And so this is really about self-acceptance. And it's similar to pile number 1. It's a feeling of, you know what you need to do. But instead of looking at how you might upset everyone outside you, in this case, it feels like this is about upsetting yourself about who you thought you were supposed to be. And the luck card just keeps coming up, so it wants to come up, and bond does too. This makes me want to talk a little bit about relationships. And a pattern that I've discovered in myself. It can be funny the way that the soul manifests, especially in partnership, relationships, or for you, whatever situation this is. You might find that the situation that you've manifested actually has this flip side to it, where the learning or the layer of discovery is actually a consequence of the situation rather than the situation itself. It's the underlying learning of the lesson. So what I mean by this, I'll explain. I discovered that I was in a pattern of attracting partners who I would at first say to myself, this person presents an opportunity for me to be way more loving than I've ever been, to open my heart and to become unconditional so that they have room to grow. This is very feminine, to be the fixer or the healer, or to choose somebody that you want to change. To only discover later that you never could change them, and now You have to leave the relationship and you feel like a terrible person. And your whole intention, subconsciously, by manifesting this situation, was to feel like a terrible person because that's what you believed about yourself. But it isn't until you recognize that that's a pattern and that's a situation you're creating to get back to that limiting core belief, you will fall into the analysis of yourself as a terrible person, worrying that you're doing something wrong and there's something wrong with you, when you could remove yourself from this type of situation entirely. Or in your case, in the case of the example of the boss having to fire an employee, you have to remove that aspect of analysis to recognize this is just a person that's being pushed out of my frequency because we don't match anymore. A person will always either meet you where you are if you're rising, or they will have to fall, which means they have to leave your life. So it's that kind of situation here. There's no use or no help or no value in reflecting back on yourself and who you think you should be when all that you are is what's in your heart. And you know what you have to do. This is just about letting go of the judgment on yourself. Looking at the patterns, looking at the cycles. Looking at how this situation is making you whole. And just trusting that, knowing that this is all for a greater reason, for a bigger purpose. Nice and simple message there, pile number 4. I feel you guys. If you'd like to check out the extension of this reading, I have a club, a meditation club. The link is below. Otherwise, you can order a private reading with me or drop a comment, like and subscribe. Either way, I hope I've helped you to get out of your pickle. Until next time, love you guys. See you later.